All right. So today we are going to take a look at Epic. Epic is a digital library um, with over 40,000 books. It is multi user, so multiple students could be reading the same book at the same time. It is free for students to use during school hours, and this is a good one for kids that are 12 years old and under. So kids can use this all the way through sixth grade. Um, I'm going to walk you through setting up an account and getting your kids set up and how to use Epic. So, first, it's better for teachers to use Epic on the desktop, but you certainly can get the app. The app for teachers will be found in the App Store. Students will, of course, get the app from their self service. So I went ahead and signed into Epic with my school district email address, and I set my own password. Once you have created an account as an educator, you will select your educator role and the grade level that you teach. Then you can set your reading level system. So either using F&P as an option, or if you are sixth grade, you might choose Lexile. So you can choose your reading level system, and then you can search for your school name. So you'll just type in what school you're at, and your building should auto-populate for you. All right, so once you are signed in, you will go ahead and create your roster. So you can add students. So you will follow with all of that to add your students into your roster. Once you have your roster created, you will it's helpful to go ahead and just print login instructions for your students, or send the login instructions to them some way. So they make it really simple. Students only need to log in with your class code, so really you could even just project that for them or display that code for them, and they can go into self-service, get into the app, type in the code, and then they're in. Otherwise, you can print the instructions. So you'll want to select iOS so students can do this on their iPad, and then you can go ahead and print those instructions off for them. This can sometimes be helpful too, just in case they would like to, if they have a laptop at home or something else, they have those instructions. Okay, so there's the code, and my students will join with that code. And when you do that, you can also try the student experience, and then you can see what it looks like from the student standpoint. There's usually a guest that will appear, so you can go into the guest account and try things out, and that's really helpful to see what things look like from the student point of view. The other nice thing about the guest account that I use all the time is if you get new students in your classroom and you haven't had a chance to add them to your roster yet, I usually just tell the student to just go ahead and log in as a guest for right now until I can get them added. So that guest feature is super helpful. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and return to teacher view here. All right, so here you can play with your settings. I have learning videos toggled off. That sometimes they have a lot of like drawing videos, things like that. So if you want your students to just be reading only, you might toggle that off. If there are times that you want to allow videos, maybe like as a reward or incentive or something like that, that's a nice feature to have. But a lot of times students will spend all of their time on Epic just doing those videos. So I have that toggled off. You can change your reading system at any point in time. If you switch grade levels from one year to the next, you can change that. And then there's just a lot of helpful information in here as well. So you guys can kind of peruse through that. You'll have all of your topics to choose from. I'll get to that in a minute. Lots of fun little activities that you can do within your classroom to encourage reading. So all of that is an option. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and come back up. I'm going to click on Explore. Okay, so in the Explore, this is kind of like your library. So at any point, if you want, you can use Epic a couple different ways. Students can just come in here freely and just read. Okay, and that's great. If you would like to assign content to supplement your lessons, what you're teaching, you can absolutely assign books to the whole class to read, or if you want to do more like guided reading, small group, one-on-one instruction, whatever the case may be, you can also assign books to specific students. So I'll show you how to do that. We also have in here read to me books versus audio books, and then of course just regular ebooks. So all of those are noted on the front cover. So this Flat Stanley book would be a book that would read out loud to the student. So the student would press play. You would obviously want them to have their earbuds in, and it will read to them. And then of course the audiobooks are just audiobooks. So kind of keep that in mind and make sure your students understand how to use that based on their age, of course. So then the audiobooks are purple, and then
this is a copyrighted work.
Will just be, of course, audio only. No words, no pictures, things like that. All right, so let's talk about how to assign books and how to build collections. So the first thing that you can do as a teacher is you can, as you're exploring here, you can change the grade level even just on this page. You can explore by F&P if you specifically want read to me, or you specifically want audio, or if you're looking for a specific book, you can type it in up here. You can search for books based on topic or subject matter. So all of that is an option. So let's say I want books on kindness. Okay, so from here I can go ahead and assign a book to select all, my entire roster, to my whole class, or to specific students only. And then once I hit assign, the student will get that book. They will get a notification in their personal mailbox here in Epic that they have been assigned a book from their teacher. Okay, so that's an option, just assigning books kind of one by one. Another option would be for you to create a collection. So I could go ahead and do a collection. So I can create a new collection. I always uncheck this share with Epic community, so you can have your collection be visible to other educators, and then you guys can kind of just build off of each other's collections. I don't find that necessarily super helpful, just because I always end up creating my very own collection based on my kids' reading levels and what they're needing and what I'm teaching at that point in time. But that is an option. Okay, so there's the collection that I just created. So now that I have all of these books on kindness are pulled up, okay, so I can go ahead and just start assigning. I can go ahead and have this broken down even further if I want books that have a quiz to go along with it, or if I want certain books within a specific reading level. Maybe it's first quarter and I want to really make sure that I'm capturing their reading level. I can do all of that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start clicking on these books that I want to add into my kindness collection books that I just created. So I'm just clicking on this heart with a little plus sign to add these to my collection. All right, so now all of those books are in my collection, and I can go back into that collection at any point in time. I can also see here other collections from, like I was just saying, from other educators. So if I wanted to build off of theirs, I could. For me personally, I just sometimes find that kind of overwhelming, and I just like to search for my own. But you certainly could go ahead and take their collection and share it. You can assign it. Or you could just take books individually. So if I wanted to assign to my roster, I could, or if I just wanted to take books individually, I can do that instead of the whole collection. Okay, so all of that's an option as well. So I'm going to click back on home here. Let me click on explore. All right, so I'm going to get out of that collection. Let me see what else I have in some of my other collections. Here's some of my other collections. I can come back to these at any time whenever I'm ready to teach that, and I can assign that collection to my students. So when we're working on weather, I can have my students read through those books. Okay, so you can assign a collection, you can assign books, they'll get those notifications, and then there's your mentor text for the day. Okay, so that's how you could kind of use EPIC collections and assignments, and that can be really helpful to kind of supplement what you're already doing, especially during COVID-19. So that's kind of fun. I'm going to go into now my roster. All right, so here's your class summary. You can see all of your students. You can see if their parent guardian has signed up with an email. If not, you can send an invite, make sure that their parents are connected so their parents can see what they're working on, what they're reading. Here's where you can add students. You get new students throughout the year. You can add them there. You can go into their reading logs and check to see. This is a really old class, guys, so this isn't displaying correctly. Obviously, I'm on the current week in this class from 2 years ago, so it's showing 0 minutes right now. But that is a really helpful feature, and then you can even download this as well, so that's really handy. You can explore, create quizzes if that's something that you want. You can assign any of your collections and make them active assignments. And then you can see just an overall snapshot of your students who's reading books. You can create challenges within your classroom if you like, and download all of your summaries here. Okay, so that's something that you could create some competition with too. This gives you a really nice snapshot of all of that. All right, so in your library, again, anything that you've added to a collection, you can see that there. Here you can create your own topics. So as you are teaching throughout your units, and this, as you can see, we've got everything from science to social emotional learning to social studies, math. So there's a wide, this captures everything. It's not just good for reading, Reader's Workshop only. They have everything in here. So this is nice to use regardless of what you're teaching. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my library. So you can assign those topics. So I've got some of my favorite collections in here. Here's my collections that I've created. Here's my topics. So I can assign topics if I like. And then again, assign those to students. All right. I think that is kind of a good broad overview just to kind of get you started on EPIC. If you guys have any questions at all about EPIC, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.